Hi, I'm Catherine Gray, founder of She Angel Investors and co-founder of the She Angels Foundation. I'm also the podcast host of Invest in Her and an award-winning producer, author, and TEDx speaker. Our show, Invest in Her, features phenomenal female founders and funders. As you know, women receive less than 2% of venture capital funding. Our series is about accelerating the funding of women by connecting them to funding resources. Let's meet today's guest. My guest today is Ann Metzger. She has had an amazing career working in marketing with branded companies such as Pepsi. She also has had an extraordinary real estate career, but today we're really focused on her being a co-founder of a venture capital fund called 360 Venture Collective. Please welcome to the show, Ann Metzger. Hi, Ann.
Hi, Catherine. Thanks for having me.
Oh, my God. I'm so happy to have you on. We have met through the investment world, and I am so excited to have you on today to talk about 360 Venture Collective because it's a new female-founded fund founded by you and two other extraordinary women, Kelly O'Connell and Shelly Iacona. And I just am always so amazed at women that are starting their own funds, but yet it's so necessary that we do since we get less than 2% of venture capital. I mean, the only way we're going to move that needle is if more women start funds. So bravo to you and the girls for starting 360 Venture Collective. I know it's not easy. Tell me about how you made that foray into getting into the investment world.
Okay. Well, there are, as you had mentioned, three of us. We're a women-led VC firm. Kelly O'Connell's our managing partner, and Shelly Iacona is also a founding partner. I obviously am the third partner. And it really started with the conversation about what's next in our careers. And my partners are probably more mid-stage career. I consider myself a little later stage career.
And I'm glad you're bringing that up because so many of us, because I fit in that category, later in life have been accomplished like you have been and have said, what's next? What's going to make life exciting? How can I make a difference? And this is one of the ways that women can make a difference. You know, I say it every week on my show, Invest in Her, is that we need more female angel investors because that's what's going to move the needle. And so I love that you give people that opportunity to come with you ladies and learn about it, have an opportunity to get into that world. And, that's really what's going to move the needle is having more female founded funds and more female angel investors. So, I really applaud the work you guys are doing. So yeah, so you took a look at this and you said, wow, this is an exciting opportunity, I take it.
Absolutely. And the timing could be better. And to your point of, the low percentages of women that invest, angel invest, certainly women-led VC firms, that's changing, which is fantastic. And also limited partners, which are the investors of the venture funds. But we really, our managing partner, Kelly, came to me and said, we're doing this. We want you to be a part of this. And I was truly, because of those two brilliant women, I said, yes, I'm in. What's going to be my legacy was really around the answer to say, yes, I'm in. And wanting to really help startup founders that traditionally haven't had the opportunity to get to the table and receive venture money. And
one of the things I love about your partners, Kelly in particular, is her story. She did not come from money. She built up her career and herself and went to college, and through scholarships and whatnot. And, people don't have to come from money to get into this arena. And she's a perfect example of that. And I just love that about her story. And now here she is with you two, starting our own fund. I mean, it's incredible. Now, so for most people listening, they don't know that most of the venture capital funds have always been started by white men. And so this is really an interesting time in history that more and more women are starting their own funds. And one of the things I love about it is that most of these female-founded funds, like yours, like 360 Venture Collective, are focused on investing in women and people of color and LGBTQ, which are all the underserved entities that are not and have not traditionally been getting funding. This will help turn the tide. You are literally making history here, Ann, by starting your own female-founded fund and focusing on those underserved communities, and it's very exciting.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, and one thing, I'm not surprised that they brought you into that fold, because the one thing you and I have in common is a lot of people in our communities call us both the mayor. And so, we are connectors. Yeah. And this business is all about connecting, right?
It is.
And I would think that that's the fun part of it is,
it is.
You get to connect people to your fund and give them an opportunity to learn this whole new arena of investing that most are not even privy to.
Sure.
Right?
Yes.
So
it's interesting. I wanted to circle back to the story of Kelly, and it really touches me. She also, you prefaced a little bit about Kelly's background. She grew up in the projects of Boston and often had concerns about food, and there was a scarcity. So I don't ever forget that. You get up in the morning and you think about what's important today, who can I help today? And I think about Kelly's story, and then I think about all these startup founders that I've met that can't go further, can't grow, can't build their dreams without venture money. And so it's a big responsibility. There's so many layers to it. And we talk about legacy. We talk about building generational wealth. It doesn't stop with our startup founders. They hire people, and it goes from there. It becomes kind of this big thing. It's how I look at it and how we look at it. And
when you connect people to this opportunity, like, how do you approach them? So somebody's listening today, maybe they're thinking, wow, I want to look into 360 Venture Collective. I'd like to be a part of this history in the making, this investment opportunity that I really don't understand or know much about. I take it, go to 360venturecollective.com and say, hey, I'm interested in investing. Tell me more, right? But when you're at a cocktail party and you're telling people, yeah, I'm the co-founder of this fund, how do you talk about it to tell them, hey, this is something you should consider as an investment?
Great question, and I love in real life events, by the way.
I know you do. We both
do. Exactly.
Yes.
It feeds me.
Yeah.
So typically we will direct people, and thank you, 360venturecollective.com, to our website. And if you do fit our funding thesis, so we do invest in women-led, LGBTQ plus, underrepresented founders, and health tech, prop tech, future of work, and fintech. So if you do fall into that funding thesis, we ask you to apply through our website, and so we can track all of it. And that's really where it starts.
So they could be a founder in one of those genres and apply for funding, or they could apply or reach out to be an investor. Let's talk about fintech, future of work, these things that you invest in, because we use these short languages in this arena. A lot of times people don't know what you're talking about. So fintech, financial tech, that would be like an app that helps somebody to save or invest or something like that, right?
Yes.
Future of work. What does that mean exactly?
Future of work could be staffing, pretty much anything around jobs. If you think
like
of
an app that would help people find a job.
Correct.
You would invest in something like that,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Health tech would obviously be, and when we say tech at the end of these words, they're all tech-enabled businesses. They need to be scalable, and health tech, prop tech, fintech, and future of work are the 4 verticals.
Love that. So if you are in one of those verticals, you could apply for funding. Now, that's the thing, is that somebody might say, oh, well, mine's in retail, or mine is in some science product, or a food product. They could not apply to your fund.
They would not
but
fit
they
our funding thesis.
Right.
Yes.
But they would need to find a fund that specifically invests in that. And that's what a lot of people starting out don't know when they're creating a product, is you have to look for the right group that has a thesis, like Ann was saying, that is in alignment with what it is that you are creating and launching. And so that's very important. You don't want to waste your time or the time of the fund by submitting something that doesn't fit that thesis.
And some funds,
we can laugh about that, because I'm always like, oh, my friend Ann has a fund, apply to that. And she's like, Catherine, that doesn't fit our thesis. So I'm telling you this from my personal experience of learning that from them and others, that, you know, it has to fit their thesis. So that's your homework.
It's an industry. I didn't mean to interrupt, but it is an industry that there's a lot to it. And so learning about it, and it's great to ask questions, and you've learned, I know we've talked quite a bit, and you've talked to my partners. There's a little education around venture, and I speak from having a corporate marketing career and transition to real estate, and I didn't really know too much about venture. It's been a fascinating ride, and I encourage anyone to learn something new, to step into something. Don't be afraid of it, and really follow your dream. And that's what we've all chosen to do, and starting building 360.
And I love that. I love that you're living the dream. And people can live the dream in different ways. It could be an angel investor, which in a venture capital fund is called a limited partner. So in angel investing, in case people don't understand, they can invest directly in a company. But with venture capital, like 360 Venture Collective, you're putting your monies as a limited partner into a partnership, and it's pooled with other people's money to make it more powerful. So if you're putting in, I don't know if it's 25,000 or 250,000, whatever your ability is, it's pooling with other people's money to make it more powerful, so that perhaps $1 million or $3 million or $5 million can be given to one of these tech companies that has this potential. And that's how you can be a part of the next Google or the next, whatever big tech company there is, the next Twitter. Otherwise,
I'd like to add to that.
Yeah, otherwise you couldn't invest in that.
Correct. Yeah. And typically a check size to become a VC, an LP and a venture fund is $250,000 is a typical entry check size. We are currently raising our inaugural fund, or Fund 1. It's a $25 million fund. We've had just a really great reception thus far. We are still looking for LPs, investors, to invest in our core fund. And we also just launched a syndicate on AngelList. And what that allows you to do is to write a smaller check, could be as small as $1,000, and invest alongside our core fund. And you essentially get to choose on a deal-by-deal basis who you would like to invest in. And so it's just a really great entry into investing. So we're excited to.
That's a great explanation, and that there are different levels of what you can invest in different ways. But it does give you an opportunity to invest, even if you have under $10,000, to get into the ground floor of something that's going to be a huge tech product that could pay off, 10, 50 times the money you've put in, unlike the stock market typically does not do that. And so it is a good opportunity to, not put all your eggs in one basket. I always say that in investing, it should be diversified. But if you are in a position that you're a successful businesswoman and you want to help other women or LGBTQ or people of color, this is a wonderful way to invest. And the cool thing about a venture fund is here you have these bright women who vet these companies. They know what they're looking for. You don't have to. That's why it's great to pool your money into a fund like this as a limited partner, because then they choose what it's going to be invested in. And they do all that for for you. I think that's one of the reasons people are apprehensive to get into something like this is they think, oh, I don't know enough about it to invest. And so they kind of take that guesswork out of it for you. They've been smart women in the financial arena for decades, and they know how to vet these companies. So you don't have to.
Well, think about the comparison to someone that manages, let's say they invest in mutual funds for you, your financial advisor, for example.
Yes.
I think about that. That's just another asset class.
Yes.
And so you have your bucket of money everybody works hard for, and where do you invest it?
Yes.
And many people invest in the stock market. They may self-manage their account, or they have a financial advisor that invests for them because they don't know what mutual fund should I be in, what individual stock should I be in, and so they kind of turn it over to that professional. And so with venture, I compare it to venture where we invest in 40 startups. So the $25 million fund will invest in 40 tech startups. And we have a proprietary vetting model. So we really take the work out of, can you imagine vetting? We get hundreds of applications in. So it's pretty cool that we get to, in a sense, be an asset manager. That's kind of how I've looked at it.
Right.
Just a different classification.
Yeah, and through the years, you've helped people build a lot of wealth through real estate. Why not also through this means, in the venture capital world?
Yeah.
So it's important to educate ourselves on what are the various options of where we have to put our hard-earned money and what's going to earn the best return. And, that is always the golden question.
Yeah.
But you can't win if you don't play.
For sure.
So it's good to investigate all the alternatives, and I love talking about it every week on the show about this is something that people should look into and consider as part of their portfolio. Yeah. So, Ann, what have you all invested in thus far? Can you share?
Some of it's still proprietary, but I can say we've invested in 6 startups.
Great.
We're just had going on our second closing, meaning when the funding comes in, we also distribute at the same time, writing check sizes from 50,000 to 500, and we've invested in a fintech startup, a health tech startup, and I believe 2 or 3 future of work, and I need to fill the gaps in. But so what happens is until it's publicly announced, we have to kind of
it's on the down low.
Yeah,
got it.
Yeah,
we can appreciate that. So, what would be your advice to someone that's saying, you know what, I'm thinking about this. I'd like to What was it that made you say, you know what, I've invested in real estate. I've been very successful at it. I've had successful jobs and invested my money in stocks and bonds and other things. What was it that made you say, Ann, I want to be a part of this too. I want to diversify into this investment world opportunity. What was it, a success story of a friend, or what was the catalyst to that?
Well, I've always been a fan of the markets. I've, I guess, managed my own assets with real estate, stocks, anything else I can research. I've been known to look at charts on a Friday night and nerd out, truly. But I enjoy it, and I've always enjoyed it. And I think of money like in success of you could sleep better at night. And so I've always wanted to help people make money and fulfill their dream, and that's certainly coming to fruition in working with people in the real estate sector and leveraging my knowledge around helping them make good decisions, which over time, real estate's a long game, venture's a long game, and truly people are just a little bit less stressed when you have some money in the bank. And I know that's just so elementary how I explain it, but that's how I think of it. And life is short. And so if I can help people, these startup founders, they bleed. They stay up all night. It's hard work. It is hard work to build a startup. We're building a startup.
Yeah.
And but we're in it. And, there's days it's difficult. There's days it's frustrating. But then there's days when people say, and generally this is what we're discovering, we're here to help you. Hey, meet that person, going back to being connectors. And so we pass that along. But our slogan is meeting purpose with profit. And, you know, you need to have purpose, or I don't know what gets you out of bed in the morning. Truly. And everyone's success, it goes, again, beyond us. It goes to the startup founder, to their employees. It could be a female startup founder influencing her daughter, and then that's how I think. It just goes bigger and bigger.
Yeah. It's a big game.
I don't know if that answered your question, but
yeah, it absolutely did. And I love your slogan, when purpose meets profit. That's what I think all strive to be about. Having a purpose while we strive to make a profit, so that we can then feed back into feeding our purpose, right? And so I think that's a beautiful thing to think of it like you just said. You're not just putting money into a fund. You're not just making an investment like, when you invested in Apple or Google or whatever your stock portfolio holds. You're literally investing in these female founders or LGBTQ founders or people of color founders that otherwise wouldn't be getting funding, but they have these game-changing ideas that are going to impact the planet in an amazing way, and you are part of that. So you're not only making a great investment for the profits, but like you said, for the purpose. What could be better than that? I think we're going to end on that note. Okay. And let people know where they can reach you. Ann Metzger, you're obviously on LinkedIn, as well as 360venturecollective.com. So if you have a company that falls into their thesis, by all means apply for funding. If you are a woman out there or a person of the LGBTQ or people of color community, then look into 360 Venture as a possibility to invest in. Check it out. They're amazing women that have started this fund, Ann, Shelley, and Kelly, and I'm so grateful to know them and to bring them to you today through our Invest in Her platform. Of course, you can also follow us on social media, and I'm Catherine Gray on LinkedIn, as well as Catherine Gray Invest in Her on Instagram. And you can find She Angel Investors, our company that helps connect women to funding resources, on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well. Where do we find you on social, Ann?
I'm on LinkedIn, Ann Metzger. Also, 360 Venture Collective is on LinkedIn, and we are all on Twitter, Ann Metzger, Kelly O'Connell, and Shelley Iacona, and 360 Venture Collective. We're all on Twitter.
And Instagram too.
Instagram, yes. I don't know about who's on Instagram, but I will say we'd love for you to also check out on Angel List, our new syndicate. It's 360 Venture Collective.
Absolutely. Okay, please look into that.
Thank you.
Everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. Ann, thank you for being an amazing guest.
Thank you.
Make it a great week, everybody. Invest in her. Remember, if you're looking to launch a business or grow your business, check out our e-course, 6 Ways to Fund Your Business, available at sheangelinvestors.com.